We have a very special guest to help us break it all down, don't we, Dave?
Well, yeah, we do, because listen, I had the good fortune to be on Big Noon Kickoff, and an unusual twist of fate. Urban Meyer, the coach, and I became friends, enemies, but friends. And during the course of the year, there's two names, two coaches. We just talk ball. We just talk, the greatest to do it. Who would you want your son to go play for? What coach has the makeup you look for? Two names during the course of the year. We have these Friday dinners every Friday night. Earl Bruce, Kyle Whittingham. Those were the two names that one of the brightest minds in football kept mentioning. Of course, he hired him at Utah. He placed him as the Utah head coach. So we heard a lot. We went to Utah, and it was Kyle Whittingham, Kyle Whittingham, Kyle Whittingham. Nobody knows Kyle Whittingham better than Urban Meyer. So I figured, what better way for the world to really hear what type of coach this guy and who Michigan got than Urban Meyer. So Urban, you know this guy inside out. Tell me why Michigan should be so happy today, and Buckeyes, conversely, a little bit nervous.
Well, Dave, great to be with you guys, and Brandon and T-Bob, thanks for having me on. But,
Sir,
the Big Ten really survived a major possible tragedy as far as a coaching staff search. When you look at Penn State pulled out Matt Campbell, who's an elite coach, and then, this Kyle Whittingham thing, he called me one day and he says, "Hey, what do you think?" And I said, "Are you kidding me? You stepped down at Utah." And then we started talking about the Wolverines. And my comment was, and Dave, I think you know this, that yes, there's a rivalry, there's hatred, but there's never, you name someone that respects that school more than me, and I'd probably argue with you. I have so much respect. Bo Schembechler was a friend. And the reason we worked so hard to beat their ass is because we respected them so much. We worked on them every day of our career. So when Kyle told me that, I said, "Kyle, it's a no-brainer. You can win a national title there. It's a hard job. He's going to be under scrutiny he's never been under before. Never been under before at Utah. This is a blue blood program. You can get any player you want. You have elite academics. You have some, you got the challenges in recruiting that northern schools have. But here's why the Wolverine Nation should be ecstatic. He's a tough cat. That's a tough dude, man. You're going to see, when Wolverines were Wolverines of old, and like they were a couple years ago, they were a line of scrimmage team that tackled really well, played physical, tough defense, and they controlled the line of scrimmage on offense. And that's what he is. And he's adapted well to the new era of player. That's the thing, that when he was my defense coordinator, he was firm, had high expectations, but he was never demeaning, never, he was always, the players respected him. And that's the number one quality that he has.
And so you're obviously as plugged into this rivalry as anybody. Are you now going to be speaking with Whittingham during the season? Be like, "Hey, coach, you may want to do this. I see a little weakness." You guys are good friends, right?
Yeah, we talk all the time. I imagine I'll take a hiatus for that week as Big Noon and Barstool gets ready for the Wolverine, for the rivalry game. But yeah, he's one of my closest friends. So ironically, Ryan Day is also one of my closest friends. So these are two elite coaches that are in the game, which it should be that way.
You know what's interesting, and I saw you made a big stink, and I texted you about it, and there was a story that said Dave Portnoy didn't pay his $1,000 bet to Urban Meyer, and you got your PR team running circles around saying the Michigan man didn't pay. That bet is paid. But, the more this past game unfolded, I honestly think there should be an asterisk next to that game. Now, it's a sad situation, but it's tough to win that game. It's tough to stay focused. It appears as though our head coach could have been in a straitjacket heading into that game. He did not have his mind on football. I don't know that Ohio State Ryan Day even gets credit for that victory in light of everything that was circling around that. I could have beaten us at that point. We didn't have a coach. There was so much Mickey Mouse stuff going on. We didn't know that. I didn't know that. So I don't know if that check is cashed yet, but I know maybe as an honor integrity, I wouldn't even accept that check or even count that victory.
Let me explain. I have not cashed a check in 30 years, so I have no idea. Shelly, I don't know where that thing is.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do it either. I wasn't going to send a check till I started seeing in the New York Times that I hadn't paid.
So I'm going to get that thing framed and put it up somewhere in my man cave here. But Brandon, help me out here. When you start saying that game shouldn't count or the rivalry shouldn't count, that's nonsense. That's what he does on his own time. That's no one's. That's between him and him. But those Ohio State needed that. Ryan Day got the win. Ryan Day gets that on his record. I'm not sure what it is now. It's
1-4 with an
it
asterisk.
counts.
How are you feeling about the playoffs?
I think Ohio State and Georgia right now are two top teams. The Georgia game, when you look at what they did to Alabama, and our podcast, the Triple Option, was at the Alabama Oklahoma game. Alabama is really good, and what Georgia did to them, I'd have to say it's Georgia / Ohio State for the leader. And then obviously you got Indiana, which Indiana still is one of the great stories in my lifetime. I still think if they play again, I know there's going to be some people pissed when I say that, but I just think the Buckeyes got a better roster, and that won't happen again if they played.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on. I'll send you some maize and blue if you need it, because I know. I mean, this is almost blood here that we have now coaching our team, and I couldn't be more excited. I was getting very nervous. The clock was ticking, and in this new era of NIL, I said if they don't get somebody, and then when I heard Whittingham, I mean, we're back. We're back. This team is back. We have a top coach, and it's a top program, and he said all the right things. He said, when you think about this Block M, gritty, physical, mean. He said all the right things. So I can't wait, and I can't wait to get him on the sidelines.
Yeah, and I know he's already talked to me about who he plans to hire, and he's got a, he's not going to announce it for a few days until the bowl games, I believe, are over. But Kyle, and for all my distaste of the Wolverines, but my respect is there. You got you a hell of a coach. He's going to put together a great staff, and he is an organizational nut job. You go out and watch practice, and you and your boys will go, holy shit, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what it's supposed to sound like. It's a line of scrimmage game. I can actually really excited for Kyle. And don't worry, Ohio State will be fine. Ohio State's recruiting at a whole different level than they're playing.
Urban Meyer, special assistant to the coach.
Oh, boy. On the staff.
I like the sounds of that. I like that. We'll welcome you over. Listen, we will take it. You've told me you got along with Bo. You respect the program. This is just something that happens. Your friend, your guy is now our guy. We'll welcome you with open arms.
I'll never say the M word. I'll never wear maize and blue, but I'm pulling for Kyle in every other game other than the one.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Great to see you guys.